Hello, everyone. It's time for Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanas. This is episode 244, season 10. Today's date is August 5th, 2023, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I will talk about the TV host and radio disc jockey, Jim Lounsbury. He hosted shows such as Bandstand Matinee and The Record Hop. And that was in the 1950s in Chicago. Also, I will talk about Fox DeLuxe beer. That's an oldie but goodie, at least from some people, they said. Okay, and then, so we have an interesting show. Right now, the program will go into a commercial break, and this program is brought to you by Underwood Devil Ham. And here's a commercial from the mid-1970s. You might recognize the kid that's speaking. That's Mason Reese. So after the commercial, I will talk about the product and I will talk about the actor. Give a brief history of that. And so sit back and relax, and I'll be right back. Thank you, everyone.
The other morning, I had a talk with Mom. Lunches were getting pretty boring, so I told her about Underwood chicken spread. Now look what she does with our sandwiches. Cranberry sauce and lettuce on chicken spread. Chunky peanut butter and applesauce on this one. Even made a nifty stuffed tomato salad, like I told her. Mom, you plus Underwood is like having a smorgasbord.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial. This was not it's not for Underwood Devil Ham. It's for chicken spread. Comes in other flavors. I remember this product very well. To tell you the truth, I never had it. My mom never bought it. She didn't even know what it was until I explained it to her. And it's still around if you're like deviled food. I like deviled eggs. Someone I used to work with at American Express used to make those. And they were delicious. You put a little paprika on them and cut them up. Oh, they were delicious. He did a fantastic job. That was the first time I ate them. As for the product, that was from the William Underwood Company. And that was founded in 1822. And that was, of course, founded by William Underwood, the same name. And the man worked in London, and then he came to America. And then he started putting this product together, and then he put it in tin. And then it's, right now, in the old days, they just put them in plastic, like paper, and you wrap it around like that. And then the first time I saw this product was on television, like in the 70s. And then you had the devil. That devil used to scare me when I was a kid. He was red and had an evil smile like that. It's like, ooh, no thanks, like that. So let's see what else. So the reason it's doubled because it had pepper sauce and cayenne pepper, Dijon mustard, or anything that's like spicy, not very spicy like that. The Devil debuted in 1895. He's been like that. So, he's holding a pitchfork and he's smiling. He looks so happy like that. Anyway, the child that's speaking in the commercials, that's Mason Reese. He's a former child actor. He's done many commercials during the 70s. He not only the Underwood Devil Ham, Ivory Snow, the detergent, Dunkin' Donuts. He did Dunkin' Munchkins, remember that? And Post Raisin Bran. And Yeah, so he got picked and did the commercials, and you heard the Borgeshmord. It was fun like that. And he was interviewed on television, all Johnny Carson, Mike Douglas, Merv Griffin. He was everywhere. And after he stopped acting, then he became he owned some restaurants in New York. And then he opened a sports bar like that. And I don't think he's acting. No, no, he's not. So I guess he's doing okay. He's a short little guy, but he was so lovable. He was on the cover of TV Guide. You remember that? Okay. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned I would talk about the radio disc jockey and TV host Jim Lounsbury, and also Fox Deluxe Beer from Chicago. Before I get started, I'm going to talk about me, what's been happening. I went to the hospital Thursday morning. And, Thursday afternoon, I went there. I had another operation, the same one, to stretch the scar tissue around my urethra. It went well. I took a picture of myself in the bed. I posted that yesterday. People loved it. It went very well. Then, of course, they put a catheter on. I hate that thing. Oh, I despise it. I detest it. Yuck. Hate that thing. And I still have it on. The funny thing is they put me under, and when I woke up, I felt woozier than before, than the other previous times. And I don't know. It's just I guess I haven't slept well the past few days, so I felt like I want to sleep. And so my mother took me home, and I just recuperated. I'm recuperating this weekend, and I have to wear the catheter. It's not easy, so I put it in my pocket. I'm walking around. Took a shower this morning. I'm holding it, so it's like that. It will be removed Monday afternoon. I'm going to go at 1 o'clock. Thank God. It's just for the weekend. I had a week one time, and I got an infection, and that was not pleasant. Oh, it was awful. And then after that, we're going to find out I probably have to do another bone scan to see, because I spoke to the oncologist before I went to do my operation. It was in the morning for the first time. He's a new one. He said, we'll do another bone scan, and we'll see, maybe you need a new medication, to decrease your calcium level, or trying to for your bones, because it's the spots on my 10th right rib. We'll see about that. I haven't made the appointment yet. I will Monday. I'll hear from them. And they want to do a PET scan, but they didn't have one, so we'll see about that. I hope so. Yeah, we'll hope so with that. Otherwise, I'm fine. I'm doing okay. I'm just resting. So everything's A-okay. All right. Let's get on with the show. We'll talk about Jim Lounsbury. When I was growing up, I sort of heard his name around. I didn't know what he did, but I just saw it maybe through newspapers or just on TV or something like that. But he hosted the first rock and roll programs in Chicago, and I think New York too. So there was a lot of them. I think this was before American Bandstand with Dick Clark. So the first one he hosted was Bandstand Matinee. And that aired on WGN TV Channel 9 in Chicago on June 1st, 1954. And it aired in the afternoon, probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And back then, rock and roll was born, with Bill Haley and the Comets, rock around clock tonight, dun, 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 like that. And it was a big hit. Just like I said, it was huge, and because teenagers love that. So I'll give you let's see. So Jim Lounsbury was born on February 24th, 1923. Oh, he'd be 100 this year in Colo, Iowa. I'm not going in Greek. I don't. You know what? In Greek, kolo means butt. I don't want to go into that because my family and my friends would know what that is. Anyway, so yeah, so he was on the radio. He was on WIND, WJJD. Excuse me. Also in New York, and then started hosting the show. And I think that the Bandstand Matinee ran about 3 years or so, and then he moved over to WBKB Channel 7, which later on turned to Channel WLS. Excuse me, and it was called the Record Hop. He hosted those. Also, I found out from some people that he toured around the city, and he did parties, and they had venues and at high schools, uh, and hosted those shows. And then teenagers would come, and they would have maybe dance marathons or dancing, and he would just host. Seemed like a very cool, calm man. He looked like he was having a good time like that, and that's great. It's wonderful. And then the last show he hosted was in Kenosha, Wisconsin, on January 24th, 1959, and that was where Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper and Richie Valens, they got killed a month later, in that crash. That was in a cornfield, and that was devastating. It really was, and that was the Winter Dance Party tour. Okay, and then later on, then he worked for the national. Then he became a national news anchor for UPI News Radio, and then he moved to Tucson, Arizona, in 1980. And then he flew a plane. When he was when he retired. Also, you can find an interview of him on YouTube. He will discuss about that of the shows he hosted, and I watched it. It was very interesting. And unfortunately, he died on January 8th, 2006, about 2 days after my father. So a lot of people have memories of that show, the Record Hop, and also Bandstand Matinee, and also the Record Hop. And so it was, they had the sock hops. You go on the gymnasium, you just wear your socks, maybe barefoot. I don't know. I wasn't there, so it sounded like a fun time. It really did look like that. Teenagers had fun back then. Teenagers do now, but it's different. Like Lollapalooza this weekend. That was not Lollapalooza back then. No, 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 no. So also, he introduced acts. Also, like rock and roll acts as well. Just like and he also guest hosted on American Bandstand on occasion for Dick Clark. If he wasn't there, so that's great. Like that. All right. So seemed like a nice guy. All right. All right. Next up, I will talk about Fox Deluxe beer. One time I posted this particular brand of beer on my Vanish Chicagoland page, and you should see the comments what people said. Some people said it was good. My father drank this; it was great. Others said it was terrible. It tastes like swill water. It's just bleh. It's just no good. I wouldn't know. I never had it. This went out of business before I was born, so I found a little history of this. So here we go. That was brewed at the Peter Fox Brewing Company. It was located at 2626 West Monroe Street. That was on the west side of Chicago. And they started brewing probably in the 30s, early 30s, like that. And before that, it was the Old Hoffman's Brothers Brewery. and that was from Al Capone. Yeah, how about that? Uh, the man who owned the uh, the brewery, his name was Harold Fox. He owned the brewery, that, and there were nine brothers that owned the Fox Brewing Company. Wow, that's a lot, like that. And it was advertised in the newspapers, magazine. I'm probably on the radio, uh, like that, and so it came. It came in bottles, cans. Also, they had Buck beer later on, and so so they started brewing the operations in July of 1933, like that. Amazing, and then they expanded. And then they bought other brewing companies, like, for example, the Kali Brewing Company in Indiana, in town Marion. I think that's where James Dean was born. That's what it was. And then also they bought another brewery in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and that ran for 10 years, from 1941 to 1951. So like that. And then it was a very popular beer at the time. It really was. And then their famous slogan was, "Don't say Fox, say Fox Deluxe." I think that's what they said. I don't know. So that's fine. So other products they had was Fox Deluxe Ale, Old Silver Fox, of course, Fox Deluxe beer, Silver Fox Deluxe Ale, and Silver Fox beer. Yeah. So they had that. That's kind of interesting, like that. Uh, like I said, I found a sign on eBay, and it was they had a Fox Deluxe beer, and that's kind of cool, like that. And there's a Facebook page on Facebook. It's called "If You Grew Up in Grand Rapids," and one of the biggest uh, topics, popular was, of course, Fox Deluxe beer, from the Peter Fox Brewing Company, and so that's, and they remember for their silver foam. Okay, I guess so. Like that. That's amazing. Like that. Okay. So I guess that's it for this show. It's kind of short, like that. So I'm sorry. You see, I'm still recuperating, so this is not a long show. All right. So I'll do a recap of what I said today. I talked about the radio disc jockey and I'm sorry, yeah, radio disc jockey and TV host Jim Lounsbury, who hosted the Bandstand Matinee TV show, and also the Record Hop, also the Fox Deluxe beer from the Peter Fox Brewery in Chicago. Um, this this podcast will be published later on today. You can find it anywhere on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, also on Amazon Music. When you tap on your phone, on your phone, on your tablet, on your laptop, subscribe. Just do that. Also, be posted on my YouTube channel, Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. A lot of people they rather listen to there. It's much easier. So just subscribe, and you get a notification for a new episode. Also, be posted on my blog, vanchicagoland.blog. Also, be on my social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, also Instagram, and Threads. Threads is still there, but I guess not. I mean, yeah, it's still there. I'm sorry. So it's, it opened with big fanfare. Remember that? It was like, whoosh, there's Threads, like that. But then it's kind of calmed down a bit. But I think they're trying to put new features in. So they're working on it. Okay. All right. I don't know if I'll do another podcast episode tomorrow. Maybe. We'll see. I have to think about a couple of topics to discuss. we'll see about that. Okay, so this is Pete Costanis, your host of Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me on this Saturday. I hope everyone have a great weekend. I will try to have one. I'm going to rest, and hopefully I will feel better for the rest of the week. Okay, so here's bye bye for me, and here's a little traveling music with Ray Rayner saying bye bye bye. So long, everyone, and take care.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.